breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It doesn't even matter. I got this recipe idea from savoryexperiments.com. However, their recipe that they had was not a keto recipe, so I ketofied this recipe so that way it would fit my lifestyle as well. But as I go through the recipe, I will let you guys know the changes that I made, so that way it'll be keto friendly. But I will link the original recipe down below, and I will also put my conversions and changes to the recipe down below as well, so that way if you guys want to ketofy yours as well, that will be down there too. But let's get into this recipe, and I'm so excited to try this. All right guys, so these are the ingredients that you're gonna need for this recipe, and just remember this recipe was not a keto recipe. I am ketofying it, but so this recipe calls for, it actually calls for 2 14.5 ounce cans of whole mild green chilies. I just got this 27 ounce big can here. I figure that is good enough for that. And then I got 1 pound of Monterey Jack cheese, and this is just the block, so that way I can just cut it myself, because that's what we're gonna use to stuff the green chilies. Then I got 1 pound of Colby Jack cheese, and I just got the shredded in that. And then we're gonna use 5 large eggs. And then we're going to use a ½ cup of blanched almond flour. And then I'm gonna use 1 1/4 cups of almond milk. And then I'm going to throw in about a teaspoon of sea salt. And that's literally all this recipe is gonna take. I will link the original recipe down below, and I will also put down below in the description box the changes I made to make this a keto meal. All right, so this is what the green chilies look like in the can, and they just open up, and we're just gonna stuff them. And then I cut up all of my cheese. I may have to cut them a little bit smaller, but I'm gonna start stuffing these, and I'm gonna start putting them in the pan, and I am gonna spray my pan. I'm just stuffing these little guys with the cheese that I had cut up. And this one here is the Monterey Jack. So I'm just putting a smaller piece down so that way it fits all the way down to the bottom of the pepper. And then I'll put a larger piece up on the top there. Just like that. Ooh, this is gonna be so good. All right, so this is what they look like when they are all stuffed. I ended up not using all of that Monterey Jack cheese. I still have all of that left over. So just keep that in mind. If you don't use it all, it's really not that big of a deal. So I'm gonna spread some of the Colby Jack shredded cheese on top of these. And then I'm gonna make the egg mixture. And then after we add the egg mixture, we're gonna bake this at 350 degrees for 40 minutes. We're not gonna cover it. And then once we take it out, we'll add the rest of the cheese, and we'll bake it just a little bit longer just to really melt that cheese in there. And this should be delicious. All right, so I'm gonna add all 5 of the eggs into this bowl. I'm gonna add a ½ cup of almond flour, 1 1/4 cup of almond milk, and 1 teaspoon of sea salt. Now I'm gonna give this a bit of a whisk. Now I'm just gonna pour our mixture, and our mixture is still runny, which it's supposed to be, and I'm gonna pour it over our chili cheese here. All right, so this is what it should look like. Again, I'm just gonna throw it in the oven at 350 degrees for 40 minutes, and then I'm gonna take it out, put the rest of the cheese on there, and let that cheese melt and brown just a hair on the top, and it is ready to go. All right, so this is what it looks like after it's been in the oven for 40 minutes on 350 degrees. And then I am just going to add some more Colby Jack to the top of that. The original recipe said to add this entire thing. I don't know if I'm gonna add the whole thing because that is a lot of cheese. But I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of that on the top and throw it back in the oven for probably, if I were to guess, maybe 10-15 minutes until the cheese is melted and maybe a little golden brown on the top. All right, so I sprinkled some on. I did not use that entire bag. I just kind of covered it lightly on the top. Now I'm gonna throw it back in there and let this finish up, and then we will taste test this. All right, guys, so this is the finished product. I'm gonna let it sit for just about maybe 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna cut into this bad boy, and we are gonna give this a try. All right, guys, so it's done. And I am gonna give this a taste and we will see how it is. And I'm super excited to try this because I really think it's gonna be delicious. And keep in mind that this is a lot of cheese, so this is very calorie dense, but let's give this a taste. Look how good that looks. Oh my gosh. This is so good. What do you think, Oscar?
Good. Looks good.
Y'all, seriously, I'll have the recipe down below. This is absolutely delicious. I must say that this is probably on my top list of recipes that I've made so far. This is probably one of my favorites, for sure. Hands down, this is amazing, and this will be made again in our house. So, I hope you guys have one heck of an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching.